Tracy, we used to always look at these reports by a company called Challenger Grand Christmas. They tracked layoffs. It was really important around recessions and things like that. And they'd tell you that layoffs are coming, and you could sense from that maybe a recession was coming. You caught something that they wrote about this week, and that is for the first time ever, they recorded jobs lost as a result of artificial intelligence. All we talk about these days is GPT and artificial intelligence, how it's going to destroy democracy and destroy the world. Maybe it's going to be great. I don't know. But this is where the rubber hits the road for a lot of people. It is replacing some jobs.
Yeah, in some respects, it's kind of weird that it took this long to see this start showing up in the data, but you're absolutely right. ChatGPT was released back in November, and fast forward to May, we get this Challenger jobs report. This is the thing, as you mentioned, that kind of lays out all the layoffs that are being announced by companies in the U.S. Comes out monthly. Usually the list of reasons for layoffs is kind of boring. It's restructurings, maybe some offshoring, things like that. But this month, for the first time ever, they included a category for AI, 3,900 jobs lost, as you mentioned. And I guess the big question now is which careers, which categories are actually most exposed to this risk?
And look, the numbers in context, we created well north of 300,000 jobs in the month of May, 800,000 manufacturing jobs in the last couple of years, 13 million jobs in total. The number's small, but that's why we used the coronavirus example, because the day we first heard about coronavirus, it was a very small thing. There's nothing in this data yet that tells us where this is going. There's nothing in the data that tells us whether AI will create different jobs or whether people can retrain like the Industrial Revolution into other jobs. What do you glean from it? The first time you look at this number, 3,900 jobs lost to artificial intelligence, what do you make of it?
Well, I think you're asking exactly the right question. So people look at AI, and on the one hand, there are people out there, a lot of economists, who expect this to be a huge productivity boost for the U.S. This is going to lead to more efficiency. It's going to lead to new types of jobs being created. But then, of course, you have plenty of people out there who are worried about the immediate impact on their own work, their own careers. And I think it's kind of interesting to note there was a Pew survey relatively recently where I think 60% of respondents thought that AI would have a big disruptive effect in general, but only 28% thought it would affect them personally. So I think people are still coming to grips with what this technology can actually do. We have seen some announcements from individual companies tying AI into job losses. I think, for instance, Dropbox said it was cutting something like 500 people earlier in the year, and they were talking about how a lot of this was driven by technological advances. And again, like, it's kind of going to come down with how society and policymakers actually deal with this disruption. If we get a future where maybe we don't have to work as hard, maybe there's a 4-day week or universal basic income or something like that because the robots are doing all the tough stuff, you know, that might be pretty palatable to a lot of people. If, on the other hand, we have lots of job cuts, people end up maybe with worse jobs or less desirable jobs, and a lot of the benefits and the profits accrue to company owners, corporations, that doesn't seem like a very good outcome.
You've just addressed all the things in one answer. That's amazing. You know, when people talk about universal basic income, it seems like a fringe concept, except if you're talking about a world in which the computers do the hard work and you can be an artist. You can be the thing you wanted to be because you don't have to grind for 18 hours a day doing something that you don't want to do. But these are important questions. You said if society and policymakers can figure it out. That's a big ask. That's a tall ask. We've been struggling with policy around disinformation, about social media, around digital communications for years now. And now we're introducing something that's orders of magnitude more complex than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people have a knee-jerk reaction when they hear technological revolution. You think about things that have gone wrong in the past. You know, new technology is always promised to be a standard of living improvement. Everyone is going to benefit from it. But of course, there are losers relatively. But if I could mention one maybe good thing before all of us panic about losing our jobs, especially us media professionals, because of course that's one of the things, content creation, that ChatGPT seems particularly good at. But there was a famous study by an economist, David Autor, where he looked at the census data, and I think he found something like 60% of workers today are employed in positions, occupations that didn't exist in 1940. So that would suggest that something like 85% of the employment growth that we've seen over the last 8 decades or so is explained by new technology. So clearly we have been able to adapt since 1940. I wouldn't say that the adaptation has always been smooth. I certainly wouldn't say that everyone benefited from it, but this has happened before. I guess the question now is, how disruptive is this really going to be? And how well is society as a whole and policymakers, which we already kind of discussed, how well are they thinking about it?
Tracy, in all of my career as a financial journalist, this is the first such conversation I've had specific to job losses related to AI, so I will remember it. I appreciate how much nuance you brought to this conversation. I'm sure we're going to discuss this many, many more times. We appreciate your time. Tracy Alloway.